So good morning. Welcome everyone to the Women's Coffee Club. This is a place, a safe space for women to share and inspire each other, learning from a different host each week. So we are collaborating, we are sharing, and we're very fortunate. Our host this morning is Kim Riley, and she'll be sharing a very important topic about persistence. You know how many times we want to quit? Many times in our lives. So this is a perfect subject. So with that, Kim, if you would just tell us a little bit about your background and why you decided to choose this subject and take it from here. Thank you, Kim, and everyone for coming.
Yeah, thank you. I do love this group. I haven't recently in the last few months come to participate a whole lot. In part because of the work I'm more recently doing in the last 8 months, but I try to come when I can, and I do love this group. So welcome, Avery, for sure. It's a great a mix of different women from all over the place and different areas of interest and expertise and all of that. So it's a fun place to be. And I would love to learn from you if you have at some point, something to teach us about video making or any of that. I don't know. That would be great. But who I have a background in public health, moved from that 5 years ago or so to life coaching because I was frustrated in public health. I was in education, was teaching a lot of information, but not being very effective at helping people or facilitating behavior change. So then I delved into life coaching, and I have a couple of different certifications there. And I love doing that work. And actually at the end of, or toward the end of this, I don't know, last 20 minutes or so, I thought I would lead us all through a process called Heart's Desire. That is something that I've used one-on-one with people when I'm coaching, but we can do it as a group, just so everybody can get a sense of it. Anyway, so about 5 years ago, I started down that route, and most recently, so it's now not even, depending what you think is recent, about 8 months ago, I went in a really, added a whole new direction for me in the financial world. So I have started day trading, so trading in the financial markets, which is something that uses a lot of headspace. It's a lot of technical stuff. It really kind of, it really feeds that part of myself, that headspace part of myself, which is interesting because today, the process that we'll go through at the end is not head process at all. It's much more body, just a body focus and energetic focus. But I love combining the two. And I think when we are in some sort of space that really is head heavy, like the trading is for me, it's really helpful to be able to come into my body and to be grounded and to be out. It's a great combination to have. So anyway, that's kind of that's a brief story of my background. But yeah, persistence. And actually, Rainey, you would suggest, you said, I don't know what to talk about. You said, well, I don't know, how about persistence and what you keep persisting with? So I thought it was a great topic because, just like you said at the beginning, Rainey, today, that it's so easy to quit, right? It's so easy to quit or get to the verge of quit. It's like, nah, okay, well, it can be so easy to do that. And even if we don't quit on something, and this is absolutely my personal experience, I come very close to it. I'll come very close to it and go, really, is this worth it? Is this worth it? So I'm always challenged by that question of sticking to something or don't stick to it, pushing through, pulling through, whatever it is, staying with it. So I just wanted to be, what I love, one part I love about this group is the conversation back and forth, asking questions, just what does everybody think about something. So this, I want to be kind of informal that way. I don't have like a PowerPoint presentation, and not that when women are doing that here, those aren't wonderful. That's not to say that that's not a great type of presentation to have, but I didn't feel like doing that. I wanted to have conversation and all of that, and just hear from each of us, if you're willing to share. And we certainly don't have to. There's no, we'll put you on the spot, Avery, if you don't want to be. um, but yeah, just to be kind of informal with our discussion, and then yeah, to go through this process toward the end. So what I'd love to hear from anyone is that for you, like, how do you persist with something, or do you not persist and stay with something for long ever? I mean, there's no right or wrong to this. I would just be interested to hear what that is for you, kind of what that issue is, what keeps you persisting with something. If it's related to business life, that's wonderful. That's great. I know that we talk a lot about, a lot of us here talk about business life a lot. We are independent business owners, or we are aspiring to be that, or entrepreneurs. So I know that's part of most of us anyway, our thought process and all of that. But it could be something personal too, in your personal life. What allows you, causes you, keeps you persisting. So yeah, if anybody wants to share, just either speak up, or you can
I'll
raise your hand,
share.
or you can help facilitate. Rini, you're good at that. We haven't heard from
Yeah.
so and so yet. However you want to do it.
Yeah, I with that, I see your hands up, Suzanne, but let me just say that to me, it's really important to get clarity and to know why you want that, why you're doing it. Because if you don't know, be very clear about your goal and why you're doing it, because otherwise you will squander when things, when you hit the storm, when things aren't working out your way. It's very tempting to quit. I've gone through this process myself, Kim, so you're not alone when you're saying that you have all these doubts and fear and all this limiting beliefs. It's very, very normal. That's why I think that to know why you want it, why you're doing it, is super, super important, because that will keep you grounded when things are not easy. And I'm going to keep it short and turn it to Suzanne. Go ahead, Suzanne.
I was just going to say, first of all, you're exactly right. Knowing why is the biggest thing that will keep you going. And if you don't have a clear why of why you keep going on a project, for me, there are two choices: being a woman who discovered at the age of 51 that I was autistic, and then realizing how much growth I have personally had. To quit would mean that I'm not just quitting me, I'm quitting everybody else who will come after me that's trying to improve their life. So sure, I could quit, but I've made so much progress in learning how to navigate my world. It would be almost selfish for me to quit now and say, oh, I'm going to keep all this growth to myself and not share how I got here. So every time I think about quitting, I think about all the people who could benefit from whatever I learned on the journey.
Yeah,
Thank you so much for that,
Oh, go
Suzanne.
ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say thank you, Suzanne. That's awesome. Go ahead, Kim.
I was just going to say, I mean, it's great. Yeah, the why is really important, I think. I'd be interested because also to know, like, when you do quit on something, why does that come about? So but both way, why do you persist and why do you quit? Like, when is that, like, what is the why? I mean, I'd love to hear specifically, well, from others as well, but Rini or Suzanne, like, what is the why that keeps you persisting in what? What is something you're persisting in? Or what is something you don't persist in, and how it doesn't meet your why or whatever? I mean, just, yeah,
Go
I'd love
ahead,
to hear
Yanni.
specific.
I
Yeah,
see
well, for
Yanni.
me, my persistence is to have my mind shift from, this world that got me used to limiting myself. When I was growing up, my family, my teachers, everything that I wanted were like, no, because of this, no, because of that. No, I'm like, why so many no's? Now that I'm like, talking about, we cannot focus on where we are. We have to be grateful with where we are, but being able to be persistent on focusing on where you want to be. For me, it's having the first thought you have when you say I'm gonna go to vacations. But a lot of people say, "Oh, but this is expensive." But then if you go here, the crime. But then if you go there, there's none. And I was like, why are we always conditioned to think the worst? And my persistence is to make that mind shift where when I see one thing, when my friend tells me they're going for it, think of possibilities, thinking of collaborating, thinking of way it could become better. Not my persistence is to have that mind shift, to always have a high energy, to be in a loving type of way, and that way I could transfer that to my baby. Like right now, I'm focusing on her not having to say the word "no." I'm like, if I tell you, mamas, I want you to pick up your clothes. I don't want her to be like, no. I'm like, yes, mom, I'll do it after this. Don't tell me you're no. If you're not gonna do it, tell me a reason why, or why. Or when she's like telling me, I want a candy. I'm like, yes, you could have it, but after we eat. I want her to be like, yes, it's going to be done, but if it's a no at that moment, the reason why. And I want that mind shift of because words, I'm understanding that words have a lot of energy, so using the positive words to even express a negative situation but in a positive way, looking at solutions. That's my consistent and persistence in my right now for me.
Thank
I
you for
love
that,
that.
Yanni. It's so true. What you're thinking in your head becomes your reality. Whatever you think. If you think no, then it's a no. Then your results are going to be a no because you already pretty much convinced yourself. Each of
Yeah.
us has a belief system, what we believe inside before even we start. We already think if we're worthy or not, if we can do it or not. We already have this in our subconscious mind. So that's why you have to fight it. You have to really repel against that is what's in your head. You have to tell yourself you can. It is possible.
Yeah, and respecting everybody's opinion. Like I'm already also learning how to be open to opinions. If we're talking about a subject and I believe you're totally wrong, but I'll kind of be like, but wait, why do you think that way? Or why is it that you're going in that subject instead of telling that, no, no, that's not the way. It's like interesting, like I tell my baby, if you don't like something, don't use that word. Don't tell them they're wrong. Just say, that's interesting. Tell me more about it. And I love that. She's like, but everybody's like, when she doesn't like something, she's like, that's interesting. It's so cute. I love
How
that.
old is she, Yanni? How old
How
is
old
she?
is she?
She's 7.
7.
Wow.
Great age.
I love that.
Mama is teaching at 7. That's awesome. Avery, go ahead.
I was gonna say too, like something that I've learned recently, with my new job is everything that you want is like outside of your comfort zone. So it's like everything that you desire and everything you want from your life is like outside of your comfort zone. Like you won't get anything if you just stay within your bubble. And like I almost see that as like motivation. It's like everything that I like hope to achieve and desire is like something that I'm not going to be comfortable with at first. And like that's usually like how I persevere. But I think it's kind of funny that I'm like good with persevering in terms of school and work and business, but not so much my art, which is like my passion. It's like the thing that I want to do the most, and I'm like the worst at staying up on top of that. Like I'm terrible at being persistent with it.
With your
Why is
art, you
that?
mean producing your art, or what do you
Yeah,
mean?
producing it. Like I wish I could stay persistent. Like I wish I could like I draw a lot of just like half done pieces, like I don't finish them. So I'm almost like, why am I so good at persisting with like everything else but art?
Yeah, why is that? If that's your passion.
I don't know. It's like, I think it's because I hold myself to such a high standard that when it's not coming out the way that I want it to like come out, then I'm like, oh my God, like I just can't do it.
And I also think it's accountability, right? Your work, you have to be accounted. You as somebody accounts for that. And for us, nobody accounts for us, and I think it's something that you already know you want it, and like you said, the comfort I think we tend to work more when we're working with others than we're just working by ourselves. And that's I think that's a lot of contribution to that. I don't know. Just a
It's
thought there.
evolving. I think it's evolving, Avery. You know, I think even the first thing to me when you said that is that the fact that you're aware of it, you notice what you're noticing. To me, that's step one. You know, you have to be aware that that is an area that you need to work on, but you know about it, that that is a problem and that that's something you need to focus on. Some people will go on in life and they just said it's not working, but they don't know why. But you actually know, and that I think that's the first step. So great job.
Or what I'm
So
also thinking of, when
yeah,
we also put our work, our schedule, why don't we put our hobbies or things that we know that fulfill us on our schedule? That way we have that time slot and there's no way for us to like, go around it. That could, that I started doing that with my personal pampering myself, like I pamper so many people, and I was just like, I wish somebody could do that for me. And I was like, who else is not gonna do that? Me, So I think that also I have that on Saturdays and Mondays, because Mondays is like to pump me up for the week and Saturdays like just to relax, so probably scheduling some time for that could also be helpful.
That's really helpful. So welcome, Jane, by the way. You came in a little bit later, and I don't know who iPhone is.
yeah, I don't know who iPhone is. Jane, we were talking about persistent. Kim is the host for this morning, and we're talking about persistent, and she's asking the question, about everyone's experience in this area, about why, when you start a project or start something and, how do you keep on going, especially when you don't feel like it, when you think it's, whatever reason it is. So that's what we're sharing, each of us. So what's your experience in the area of persistence, Jane?
Yeah, I like that. Wow, how to answer it. Avery, I enjoyed what you were saying because
Hey, Jane, just to interrupt you for a second. You're kind of wobbly a little bit. Is there a way to get a little closer to your... There you go.
Is that better?
That is better.
Yes.
Is it better? Oh, okay. Geez, I don't know. I wonder if my connection is, although I have a solid connection. Well, okay, if I'm good now, thanks.
You're good right now.
Let me know. Yeah, so I like what you had to say because I too am an artist, and I take painting classes weekly and have from a premier artist locally. And I like what I do, but so oftentimes I don't. I have so many half-finished projects in painting. And but then again, I have to be honest. I have things that I'm not impassioned about. It's hard to stay with it. It's only the things that really spark me that keep me persistent. And you can't, that's fine when you're 5, but not when you're 25 and 65, So I think what I've done is given myself a break and chosen. I think you have to choose wisely. What do you really like? And then the things that you aren't persistent about, you just say, kick it into high gear, go ahead, do it. It's a self-talk, I think, and it works. Like this morning, I leave the dishes in the sink. No, you're going to clean them. You're going to, and it's just those little things like, and it feels so much better. And I actually, it's funny we're talking about this because I thought to myself, what did my parents teach me? And they taught me that, well, we'll probably pick up after you. You know, I was the youngest in my family, and I think they were tired when I came along. And so they just said, just leave it. So there's that demon that you have to fight. So if that makes any sense.
No, that's
That
good.
makes sense, Jane. Go ahead,
Yeah.
Kim.
That's good. Yeah, Kathleen, or then the other person on the line, iPhone. Do you want to reveal yourself?
Kathleen,
Anyway,
would
I'd
like
be-
to hear
yeah.
from you. Are you
Yeah,
you
be
there?
curious to hear from you.
Yes,
you want.
I'm trying to, give me a second. I'm trying to figure out how to get okay, there we go. My video back on. Yeah, the problem with going last is that people usually say most of what you were going to say. But I think what I can add is that I recently am trying to realize and focus on that every day is a new slate. It's a clean slate. The past is the past. And if we may have been discouraged yesterday, that doesn't mean that we need to be discouraged when we wake up today. And that we can focus on what is important to us. And if we don't focus on what's important to us, life will just carry us down the stream instead of us steering the boat. So I think those two things are pretty important. And I can't remember if those were mentioned in the previous comments or not. But yeah, it is, it's difficult to persevere if you're focused on the past and discouraged by not being able to accomplish what it is that you're trying to accomplish. So if you wake up every day saying, today's a fresh slate and this is going to get done and I'm going to make sure it gets done, you have a much better chance of it getting done than otherwise.
Thank you, Kathleen. So true, right? Sometimes
Good addition.
yes, we think of the past and the regrets and the bad experiences we had before, and we use that as a gauge of what we're moving forward to, and that's really not healthy and not good for you. So, yeah, thank you for that. I think iPhone is another Kathleen.
Kathleen.
Uh,
Kathleen
do
number
you-
2. Are you there?
Kathleen number 2, are you there? I think it's Kathleen McDermott.
Oh,
Can't
that's right.
remember.
She came on originally.
Yeah, she came on earlier, so I don't know if she's there. But I want to say that I think each of us need to create our story. Sometimes when you don't persist or you don't want to do it, maybe there is a good reason for not doing it. Maybe that's not the path that is right for you. I know that we said we need to persist, but what if that's not exactly your path or your what it is that you want to do if you don't like it? For example, if you think you try that, that's what I'm retired. I retired from San Diego State University a couple of years ago, and after I retired, I thought I needed to do something, and I know that I'm passionate about helping women, and I didn't know what I was going to do. I kept going back to the familiar. I used to invest in real estate. And then I tried the multifamily real estate investment. I did the e-commerce because I was familiar. I was IT director at San Diego State. So I keep going back to the path I was familiar with. And then I said, no. And I started with the coaching for multifamily investment. I said, no, I did that for a year. No, that's not where I wanted to go. And I moved, I did the e-commerce thing for 6 months. And in a way, I think that when I was doing that, I was thinking I wanted to prove myself I could do it. That's a reason, but that's not the right reason either. And another thing is that, when I told myself, here we go again. you fail again. You can't do this. You fail again. And you keep going from one thing to the next because you can't do it. Like you're talking to yourself, all this stuff. And I said, no, but that's not the right path for me. I need to go back to where I wanted to go. So I keep going. I end up doing the blogging for women. I end up doing the coaching certification with Mary, what's her last name? What's
Morrissey?
Suzanne Morrissey?
Morrissey, yeah.
Yeah, it's a Dream Builder coaching certification to be a life coach. I have a I finished that. I wrote a book for women, and I joined Noble Goldman, and I had 3 masterminds on the Think and Grow Rich, and that evolved to this today and the wealth building mastermind. But the thing is, when the path is not the right path for you, then it is okay to quit. I mean, you can't just persist and keep forcing yourself to do something that is not the right path for you. And I go in circle, and I even went through the same path that Kim is doing right now with the trading thing. But that's not, again, I didn't enjoy it. And I felt like I was becoming obsessed. And then I get to the circle, full circle, I realized as far as retirement, I was already there. I have the income to sustain me for the rest of my life. I already, like, why am I doing this? Why? I was looking for my why. And I said, I think it was like to prove myself that I could do it. And also I keep looking for something to help women. And this Women's Coffee Club, this is helping women. Contribution doesn't have to be a huge contribution where you go on stage and doing all this fancy stuff. You know what? It's one person at a time. If I can make a difference, even just one person being on this platform, even on a little topic, a little something, I'm making a difference. It doesn't have to be a huge difference. It doesn't have to be a huge project. So I become like contented in saying, I'm already there. Why am I doing this? Guess what I'm doing now? I'm going to the gym 5 days a week. I join line dancing. So I go to line dancing 2-3 times a week. And I'm connecting with my family, with my kids. I'm going to Legoland with my daughter and my granddaughter, or, I have a grandson and a grandkid toddler. So it's like, why am I doing all this stuff? I was searching for my why to get clarity what I was doing it. And it comes full circle that I was trying to prove myself I could do it. And I said, it's not necessary. You've already done it. You're there. So I think all of us need to have our story. What is the real story? Because I think I thought life coaching was the path for me because I love helping, but it doesn't have to be whatever it is. It could be just like I said, this Women's Coffee Club, the wealth building. Not that I wanted to invest in real estate again, but I'm facilitating. I have the experience. I've done it. So that's my contribution. There were women in there. And it doesn't to be just exclusively women either. But what I'm saying is what it is that you want to do in the area of contribution or whatever it is, even when it seems small, it doesn't matter really. It's one person at a time. So I come back and say, I just want to be the way I am. Being, genuinely me, authentically me, and then just share whatever I can share with what I have and who I am. And that's that I decided that's enough. Sorry for going on and on this on this topic, but it's just just to share my personal story. So with that, yeah,
that's really good. It's really good to bring in, and we can hear from you, Suzanne. I know you raised your hand there a little bit too, and then we'll go through this process. But it's great to hear about that, like that, because I've struggled with that some. This like, okay, how long do you persist with something? And if it's not the right path, then it could be appropriate to quit. Then it could be, and why am I doing what I'm doing? I mean, I think the why, whoever first said that, maybe it was you. I don't know who was at the very beginning of this, clarity and why. Yeah. is so important to really discover what that why is. Why do I keep why either way? Why do I keep persisting in something that's not a good fit for me? Or, why do I keep persisting in something that is a good fit? Like, what's the why behind it all? But yeah, there's definitely time to quit. And what I struggle with sometimes, and hopefully that this process, it helps me, and it's actually great to go through it again. I have it up on my screen here, my other screen, because it reminds me, it gets me back into what I think can really help me decide, am I going down a direction that I really want to be going down or not? Because sometimes I don't know. Like, I'll be in the middle and I really don't know. Like, is this what I want? Well, I don't know what I want. Like, is it supposed to be what I want? Or back to, that's some of what Yanni talked about, is like, I kept hearing, no's, and don't do this and don't do that. And you really need to pursue. And what did I write down? You really want to think of the possibilities, but then really pursue what you want. Sometimes I don't even know, I think that's something too, is just, don't even know what you want. So this
think,
process, the first flyer process, helps me anyway get into a state where I am more likely to know what I want, to even pursue that. But anyway, Suzanne, what were you?
well,
wanting
let
to
me say
contribute?
something before you, I just want to make a comment that when you are at a point when you're not enjoying it, you're trying, and you said, when is the time to quit? Well, whatever it is you're doing, you need to be able to have fun with it. In other words, enjoy it. If you're continuing with whatever it is you think you're doing, and just for the sake of persistence, and you just keep pushing yourself and you're not enjoying it, you're not having fun with it, it doesn't make sense to do it. The thing is, you want to have the cake and eat it too. You want to do something that is productive. If it's finance, you want to make more money, but it has to be a thing, a profession, or a task, the job that you enjoy doing, that you want to be there, that you can't wait to be there. Otherwise, if you're miserable, you're there and you just keep pushing and suffering, that's not the right path. I mean, I'm just saying, because sometimes when you're at that point when you think that it's not the right path, and you ask yourself, is this fear? Is this yourself telling you because you're afraid to do it? Or is that the right thing? It's like my process. I went through all that. I had to question myself, my motive and everything. Like, what is my ultimate goal? Is it financial freedom? If I wanted financial freedom, and I wanted time and money freedom, that's like the ultimate. And then I look at my relationship, I look at my health, and I look at my career, where in this case, I'm already done with the career. But it's like I go through that process, asking yourself in each of those areas. And that's the conclusion that I got. That's why I'm now just enjoying myself with the line dancing, with the health, with the gym, and all these, because I make sure that my life is balanced and I have achieved those areas, those important areas in your life, and the contribution part, included in there. So, Suzanne, you have your hands up.
I was just gonna say, the other half of your question, Kim, was why do you stop? I have a set of core values that I kind of keep in my mind of when something isn't working for me, and it doesn't meet the core values. I'm a list maker or a rule maker, and core values are my set of rules. So, for instance, I love working with the public. I love working in retail, but I was working at Home Depot and they started selling more credit cards than they were selling house supplies. And I said, that goes against my core value of being the smart money manager. And so I always say to myself, whenever I take any job, it's 6 months to give it a full chance to fill out. And then I'm like, okay, does it meet the core values? And for Home Depot, when I was working there, even though I love the home building industry, they wanted to sell more credit cards. Nope, that goes against my philosophy of smart money management. I don't want anyone to get into debt. So That's when I quit, is when it goes against my core values.
Yeah, that's a really important point. And because I think that's part of the why, is like, does this meet my core values? What is really important to me? And does whatever I'm doing meet that, or does it go against it? And that's a good reason, you're right, to quit. That's all really, good. So Kat, the other Kathleen, right? You're
Who is
still
the iPhone? Hello?
Yeah, you're still labeled as iPhone. Did you want to contribute something about persistence for you and what that's about? What allows you to persist,
what's your
or when
name?
you don't? Yeah.
iPhone, what's your name? It's you. You're
It's you.
muted. You're
You're
muted.
muted. Yay.
Oh, sorry. Trying to get,
Hi.
I'm Miriam, and I'm actually, I came on because I saw Kim's name.
Oh, okay.
And, hi, Kim, how are you?
Good. How are you? You look different to me. You look different to me than I've remembered before. So in a good way.
Yeah, sorry, I was muted earlier. I'm actually going to Hawaii this morning with my children, and got up this morning to get dressed, and I didn't want to miss this. So that's why I was, it's interesting for me because I'm listening to all of you and I'm gaining a lot of insight. Kim is familiar with my, I would say, predicament or dilemma, which is investing in myself. I used to be employed with British Airways and worked with them, loved my job. I actually used to be a flight attendant, and then got married and had children, and had to be a stay-home mom. I would say I had to, because my husband was always traveling and one of us had to be home, so I had to. And now my youngest is 16 and oldest is 30, and I have an 18-year-old. So now I'm thinking, okay, now for the last few years, 3 years ago, I got life coaching certification through LPI, and then I'm just trying. I'm dabbling. I'm dabbling because I don't know where I belong, and it's frustrating for me because I feel frustrated with myself, because I feel like at this stage of my life, I should know what exactly I want to do, where do I want to be, but I don't. I'm not even sure what defines us. Does a career define us? Does a career tell us who we are? Because then in that case, I have no definition for who I am, except I was a stay-home mom for the last 25 years. So I'm not even sure how to define what society would do, because when I meet people, they're like, oh, and she does this and she does this and she does this. And I say, well, I was a stay-home mom, and I'm still trying to figure out. Now I don't want to be a stay-home mom anymore. I don't have to. And I do have a whole life ahead of me. I do want to invest in myself, figure out what I want to do. And I'm still trying to do that for the last 2 years. I got my certification, but I haven't actually set up a business. I've coached a lot of friends, as typical life coaches do in the beginning, where they feel uncomfortable actually putting a price on what they are doing. So I've been doing that, but every time I try and invest in something that I think, okay, I should do this, I actually back out. And one of the reasons I do that, I just actually, while you guys were talking, I realized that about myself, is that when you've been a stay-home mom all these years, you don't feel like you earned an income to actually spend it on yourself. It's a weird way of thinking, but when I was a flight attendant, I was earning a lot of money. I was international cabin crew, and I didn't feel guilty when I spent money on myself. I would invest in a course, invest in makeup, invest in this, invest in that. But the last 25 years, I haven't earned. My husband's the one earning. So even if I have to spend 500 on myself, I think 100 times, and I feel guilty, and I won't. I hold back. My husband, on the other hand, doesn't. He's very comfortable. investing in himself. So that's one barrier that I think I have to cross, because unless I do that, investment, not just financial, but emotional, physical, everything. Because everyone's so used to me being accessible that when I say I'm not accessible, it doesn't go down well. And I still haven't quite gotten there yet. But Kim has been chipping at me over the years, never gives up, still comes back to me and says, okay, what are you doing now? Do you want to do this? Do you want to do that? And I always jump into it, get the info, and then I sit on it. And I'm not really sure when I will jump in. And I'm following Kim's journey, and she has been like a motivation for me. And I keep saying, okay, one of these days, if I haven't left yet, if I haven't quit yet, then it means I don't want to go back. Clearly, I want to move forward in a direction that I'm not quite sure yet, but I'm slowly getting there. So thank you for accepting me in this group and hearing me out. And I don't know if I can, at this point, feel like I have contributed anything except for what I'm going through right now. But just listening to your stories helps, because it feels more normal. It feels more real. It's real. It happens to so many. We don't know our whys. We don't know what we're doing and why we're doing. And even if we do we really invest in ourselves truly, is another thing that I'm trying to figure out.
Thank you so much,
Miriam.
Miriam. Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to say, Miriam, that you're saying, oh, I don't know if I've contributed here because, it's just my story of whatever, but it's exactly how you are contributing. I think your contribution is incredibly valuable. And I just want to say I appreciate and I'm grateful for you being vulnerable like that. I mean, that in itself is contribution. I mean, really, just that in itself, whatever your story is, just saying, look, I don't know exactly. So thank you for being here for sure.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Kim, Miriam. Just by your sharing, it makes many of us here feel better.
It really does, and I'm so
we
happy.
all go through the same thing.
Yes. Yes. I would like to recommend to Miriam and to anybody, I think it's one of the best books I've ever read. It's called The Untethered Soul. And she was talking about how should she define herself. And that's exactly what the untethered soul speaks to. Who are we really, how we define ourselves. And it's not our career. It's not our name, it's not our family, it's not our personality. It is our soul, it's our core being. I can't recommend it highly enough, especially for anybody who's searching for how to define themselves.
Okay, thank you, Kathleen. I have that book in my house. So I think my daughter did her bachelor's in psychology, and I know it's in her room, so I'm going to pick it up and take it with me to buy.
Please do. You were meant to be here, and you were meant to share that story. You were meant to read the book.
Yeah, thank you, Kathleen. What's really interesting is very often we define ourselves by our job. That's like our identity. People ask me, what are you? Of course, I'm retired now, so it's like, oh, that doesn't sound good, but I used to be IT director, whatever. It's like you identify yourself with the thing that you do instead of yourself, or you go say, hey, Mary, people ask you, you said, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a life coach, whatever, but you identify yourself with that, what you're doing. Isn't that interesting? So Arlene, welcome. We are in this conversation about persistence, and we're just going around the room. Kim is the host today, and she's just asking the question. She's the host, but she also has question. Marianne has us here have questions. So anything that anybody share has been, to me, a contribution to this group. And so Arlene is a life coach. See, I identify her as what she does too. So tell us a little bit about persistent in your life. The topic of persistent.
Persistence is a great topic. That's everything. I mean, if you start, I want to say it's hard to start. It's not easy to start. It's hard to start, but it's even harder to finish. And that's what you're talking about today. Persistence is finishing the race and finishing it well. Actually, I wrote a book. It's called The 10 Secrets to Overcoming Fear, Getting Unstuck, and Living Your Best Life After COVID-19. And persistence is one of the 10 secrets. And I heard you talking, Miriam, about starting things and not really sometimes moving forward in them in the way that you would like. And I'd like to recommend the book to you as well. It's on Amazon and it's on the Ask Arlene Show website because it talks about that specifically. I had a very high level position, like Rini said, sometimes our jobs are our identity. I had a high level position where I was in the newspapers and in the magazines, and I was being called by reporters for comments on business topics because I was a Chamber of Commerce head for a business organization. So when I got fired, my face was on the cover of the newspaper. And across my face, it said fired. Now, some people never get on the cover of a newspaper, but to be on the cover and to have it say fired was horrible. And I was stuck. I was really, really stuck and kind of not able to move forward. I didn't know where to move forward to. I was supposed to talk at a Rotary meeting that morning to talk about business, and I couldn't go. I just couldn't get up because I was just too stuck. So in terms of moving forward and what were the tools and tips and techniques that I used to move forward, they're all in the book, and I'm not going to talk long, but I would just like to say that perseverance is everything. And sometimes we need tools and sometimes we need support in order to do that. And when we find people that are doing the same things that we're doing and they come alongside us and they work with us to accomplish the goal, it makes it that much easier. So that's my tip. Get company and get the book. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Arlene.
So, yeah, we only have about 7 more minutes, right? So we can, continue to discuss if we want, or we can go through this heart's desire process if we want. I mean, I'm up to, again, like I started at the beginning, I want this to be flexible and how we want. What did you say?
Let's go ahead. Since everyone already had a chance to say something, go ahead with your heart desire process. I'm curious what that is.
Yeah. So it's basically something that I think it can be really helpful. And this maybe is one of your 10 ways to get unstuck, Arlene, I don't know, or is related to them. But it's a way to really kind of be in the feeling. And it's interesting now because I'm working with a frequency coach, I call her, or something now. But of getting yourself into that feeling of desire. And so it can relate to anything. So Avery, you say, you were saying at the beginning, I persist with everything except my artwork. And I love that. And so why don't I persist there? And there were different suggestions of how to, schedule time for it or whatever. And those are all wonderful. I think what can help too, at least it helps me, is to get into this heart's desire feeling. Because that can really, which is a feeling that's out of your head and it's not thinking through it. And it's getting yourself into a place where you're being in the vibration of what you want. And then, yes, if you've scheduled time for the art or whatever it is, you're more likely to do it, right? Or if you've started a project, more likely to finish it. Jane said that too. I have all kinds of projects I don't finish, or some of my art stuff I don't finish them. I think that's also part of what art. I don't know, as I hear artists talk about that, what happens? You've got a lot of things going, a lot of art pieces going at once. But anyway, so the first thing is the first part of the process is just to get grounded in your body first, because this is not to come up with some solution for some problem or anything. It's just to be in the feeling of the desire. So the first thing that I do, and the simplest way for me to get into my body, is so If all of us just close your eyes for a minute if you want, or gaze below, but not at our screen so that you're not distracted by that. And just take a few breaths. And as you exhale in your breath, and some of you have done this maybe with me before, but you want to focus down your attention as you exhale, focus your attention down into your womb space. So that's your pelvic region, but the center of it. So down low, this is like your root chakra, right? So down low in your body. So just focus down there, and maybe it feels weighted, right? Like a weight or a heavy ball that is suspended in the middle of your pelvic region, just down there. And just for a few seconds, be down there, out of your head. Step down as you breathe out. Focus down into your womb space, the center of that area of your body. This is your power center, where your life force emanates from, comes from. And as we go through this, it's two simple questions, but as we go through this process of the heart's desire, stay down here. Stay down in your womb space as much as you can. You want to be down in there. You want to be grounded in your body. And the first question is, what is, and the more specific you can be, the better. So what is some specific issue or situation that you don't feel particularly great about? So think about a specific situation. Maybe it happened, and think timeline too. So something really recent or something now that's going on, just some specific situation. You know, a conversation yesterday didn't go so well with my partner, with my child, with a business colleague, whatever. But think of a very specific situation. It's not exactly how you wanted it to be. You wanted something different. And again, if you can't be specific, that's okay. I mean, there's no wrong or right way for any of this. But if you can be specific, that's helpful. And then the question to ask, now that if you've come up with a specific situation, is, how do I feel about this right now? And think emotions. What are some emotions you feel? I feel sad, I feel depressed, I feel frustrated. What are some of those feelings of something not going exactly, or a situation not going how you wanted it to go? And notice in your body, if you do notice, where that is. Like, do you feel those emotions in some certain area of your body? And then the third question, the final question, is, given that, and you plug in the answer, given that this particular situation happened or is happening, and that I'm feeling whatever that is, frustrated or angry or whatever your emotions are. So given this situation and I'm feeling this about it, what do I want around that issue that would make me feel a little bit better? Like, what is some little piece about it that would make you feel just a little bit better? And see if you can, and just ask that over. That's the question when I do this one-on-one with people. I ask that question over and over, because at first, some of our answers to it can kind of be socially acceptable answers. But just ask yourself again and again, given that I'm feeling frustrated, angry, whatever that is, about this specific, sliver of a situation, some sort of sliver of something in your life, what would make me feel a little bit better? And think if your situation has anything to do with somebody else, don't go there. Don't go to, oh, if he or she would just this, I'd feel better. Think specific to yourself. What can I do? What could I say that could make me feel just a little bit better? Could uplift me. Again, given that situation, what can make me feel a little bit better? If I said this, I would have felt more positive. I would have thought more of, I could think more of possibility. I loved what Yanni said earlier in our conversation about possibility. That. See if you can feel that feeling of possibility. Because there's no opposition to possibility, right? There's only more possibilities. Stay in your body and feel that, the feeling, the uplift. How can I feel just a little bit better? What are the emotions or the energy just to help me feel a little bit better? It doesn't have to be much better, or it can be a lot better. The idea is just to step up, uplift. And to hold that feeling as long as you can. I mean, it's very easy to fall out of that feeling, within 5 seconds, 10 seconds. And you can take a breath, you can open your eyes, come back to our group. But I'd be interested to hear if you're able to hold that feeling at all. Again, if you can think of a specific situation, it just makes it a little bit, it can make it a little bit easier to feel an uplift, even if it's just for a few seconds. So if there's something we really want to do, I think of it again back to your situation, Avery, of wanting to do your artwork and not persisting with it like you'd like to. If it's something you really want, to go to do this kind of a process and to have yourself move from an emotion about it or frustration about it to feeling like, if I was doing this now, if I scheduled this, how would I feel? Because if we can get into that uplifting feeling, the vibration, the frequency, all of that, and I am sure, Arlene, that so much of your work has to do with the frequency, with that vibration, or Yanni, as you've talked about working with your daughter and, what's the possibility? I don't know. That's one way to do it. How can I feel a little bit better about something? And not the solution like, well, how do I do that? It's not about solutions. It's about the feeling, the uplift. That for me is what helps me persist with something often. Anyway,
We
you want to comment?
Thank you so much, Kim. I know we're running out of time. We're at the top of the hour, but if someone wanted to just say a word or two, I mean, for me, it's like gratitude. Just like when you think of gratitude, all the things you already have in your life, that makes me feel better. That sometimes we focus on the things that are negative, but if I think of what I already have, and then like you said, Kim and Yanni, about the possibilities and even just a sliver of that, like, oh, what if I do this? What if I can do it? You keep saying you can't, but what if I can? Change the question, change your tone and the way you ask the question. But anyway, anybody else, just for maybe a couple more minutes here before we close, just to close this out, to give feedback to Kim about her question. Yanni, go ahead.
Hi. Oh, yeah. I just want to say thank you. It's kind of in the way what you were talking about, I got into like the zone of meditating. So just letting go. I think with the difference between head is your fear, shames, and guilt. And when you go into the feeling, you just go on the acceptance, self-love, peace. And that is when you see possibilities. And I just feel the aura, my heart's aura right now, the energy are flowing through again. So thank you guys.
Thank you. And Avery, how about you? You're new here, your first time, and also Marianne. Thank you for being here, all of you. Go ahead, Avery.
Oh, I really just like enjoyed like that whole just like thinking about, like opening like your like root chakra and just like thinking about like the heart's desire and stuff because it's definitely like it's hard. I mean, my current job that I have right now, I have to put myself out there every day, every time that I even think about doing it. Like I have to put myself out there. And I wish I could like put that same motivation and all of that into my art because it's like that's what I'm passionate about. So it's just something like I'll probably like use that like every day just to really like try and motivate myself to like even just like draw something. Like I don't have to finish it, but I just have to do something.
And yeah, and get yourself into that energetic space of desire first.
Mm.
I mean, I think that's the thing that helps get out of the head around it, right? Like really like, how can I feel just like, wow, I just want to, another way to do what I do is I think, what is something you love to do? And just think of the feeling of it, the feeling, like be in that feeling, the actual sensation of it.
Okay, guys, we're running out of time. Any last minute, anybody,
Just
if
a
you're
last
dying?
minute thing.
Okay.
If it's something that you really enjoy and it's something that you really want to do, and yet you're finding it difficult to do it, you need to ask yourself what's the limiting belief that you're having that's preventing you from doing that. Um, when we want to play golf, we go play golf, even if we're tired. It's 12 o'clock at night and somebody says, oh, I got tea time tomorrow morning. Let's go play. We go play because it's playing. It's fun. So if this is something that's really fun, that you really enjoy, and you're feeling some trepidation or something that's preventing you from going forward to do something you love and enjoy, like eating candy, nobody has to convince me to eat candy because it's something I love and I enjoy, then I seriously have to say, what is preventing me from doing this thing that I enjoy? What's my dialogue in my mind, in my head? Um, uh, what's her name? The lady who's conducting it said it's a heart thing, or Yanni said it's a heart thing, or she said it's somewhere lower. But my question for you, I can't get off the call without saying, there's something going on that's preventing you from doing the thing that you love and you enjoy. Are you telling yourself that you're not worthy, or that it has to be perfect and I'm not going to do it because it's not perfect? I mean, what is the dialogue? That's what I would suggest. Look at that and see if you can determine it, because if you can determine it, then you can remove it and be able to enjoy the thing that you truly enjoy and love. Or if you need help to do it, give a call. There's tons of people, me included, that would love to help you to resolve that, because I want to see you do the things that you enjoy. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Arlene. And this has been an amazing conversation. Kim, thank you so much for selecting this topic. This is so relevant for everyone. And for every one of you, each one of you, thank you so much for all your participation and your contribution. We really appreciate it. So next week, Binta will be hosting the call. So we really appreciate you and grateful for you. So until next week, have a great weekend, you guys.
And thank
Bye.
you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye,
Thank you.
Hawaii,
Bye.
Miriam.
Nice seeing everybody.
Bye.
Bye.